Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. And today I get to hang out with my buddy, Nate Pinches, live from Japan. Right? Am I right? Live from
I'm here,
Japan?
yes. We're in
Yep.
Japan and we're live.
Founder of Kappa Work. He's going to tell you about that in a second. But first of all, Nate, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Johnny. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Y'all going to love this guy because I love this guy. We just had church for like all of our recording time, all our podcast time. So we've got to shorten the podcast, but whatever. We're rolling with it. So Nate, tell me a little bit about Kappa Work.
Yeah. So Kappa Work is a full service web development agency. So we make products. Most of the products have AI in them. And I make them for small businesses that are about to scale. So there's two ways that I do this. One is I train individuals so business owners or product managers, how to use AI to transform their own businesses. And then I also do this work specifically for those small businesses. So that looks like doing a strategic deep dive into the business, understanding where there are places to improve efficiencies or improve profitability. And then after that, building a custom solution that sits inside the business. And these are all either coded with AI or they have AI kind of baked into them to take away some of the routine and redundant work so that you can elevate your employees and your work to do the stuff that's really human, which is connecting with each other and building relationships and building trust and spending good time with your clients.
Yeah. Yep. Right on. So you're a breath of fresh air for people that are trying to figure out efficiency and small business is about to scale. So I like that. That's really specific.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So they're often like above 3 million and then kind of they're thinking about like, what's their ramp towards 10 million? But when you're in that stage, the business is already proven. You got a solid business that is working. But you're also at this point where you don't have a lot of cash on hand. So like you're not necessarily able to hire to get you through that ramp towards 10 million.
Right.
So you really need to be figuring out like how do we do this efficiently? And it's this excellent inflection point of like what got us here probably won't get us there. So we need to think about what do we do to change to get towards there. It's also a place where if you can lock in a better margin in your service or product, that expands as you go towards 10.
Yeah. Yep. Now, why do you understand that problem? Why in particular do you understand what it takes to go from 3 million to 10 million?
To 10 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my background has been in an interesting one. So my wife is in the military. So we've moved. She's an active duty officer in the Navy, which is why we're in Japan. So we have moved every 3 years or so for the last 14 years. We've moved every 3 years. So every time we've done that's meant that my career has been like these kind of short phases across a bunch of different areas in business. So I spent 3 years in a hospital working in a clinic, running clinical trials, which was like a really deep dive into what does it mean to be confident in your analytics, because clinical trials have like a very high bar for what it means to say this is what it says it is.
Yes.
So I spent, 3 years there, and then moved to a new city and a place where I didn't know anybody and had to get a new job. At that point, couldn't find anything that was going to cover that was going to pay us more than what daycare would cost. So I stayed home with my son for a year, and then after that, said I think business school is the thing for me. So I did an MBA, and then this was in DC. And then worked as a management consultant for a small firm, like a boutique firm, about 200 consultants in DC, where we worked with federal agencies and really large businesses, so like healthcare systems or large healthcare insurance providers. Okay. So it was moving from like understanding the depth of what it means to say your data analytics are what they are, and then into these really large organizations, which are always broken down into departments, which are basically the size of like a $3 million company.
Yeah.
And then launched into, I launched an office for that firm in Boston when we moved again. And in Boston, that was like, well, how do I do prospecting? How do we find customers? And this is like, what does deal flow look like coming in for the business? So from there was prospecting into like about $4 billion companies, and trying to identify where there was a problem that we could help solve. And so was successful at that, and did consulting at a couple of companies that were above, just north of $4 billion in terms of annual revenue. And then
This
was
is as
recruited
a management consultant.
as a management consultant. Yeah. So there was that time of management consultant is like, you got to find a discrete problem. You have to find that problem, and then you also have to go really broad and then deep very fast. So you go broad in terms of like you're looking across the business, and then you go deep on the problem very quickly. And then after that was recruited into a turnaround team in a subunit business of CVS Health. So
Okay.
CVS Health is
Yep.
like a Fortune 5 company, massive. And that sub business was about also about $4 million. And then our group was like individually responsible for turning 13 million annually in revenue. And that was like a 5 or so person team in the corporate strategy and product development team. So then it was like, okay, now before it was like other people's problems, and
Yeah.
then how do you learn fast, and then what do you do when the budget is defined and obvious, and then you go into this other smaller group, and it was like, well, the budget's not defined and obvious, and you have to really identify how you're going to have an impact fast.
Yeah.
And then it was also like I got a ton of data. Like there was so much more data internally as a product developer than there was as a management consultant. So building on consult or clinical trials, MBA, management consulting, now a ton of data. And then building a product all the way through the life cycle of like, we're going from an idea to all the way, we're going to scale to a pilot to a beta, and then full rollout.
Yeah.
That was right into COVID, and then we moved again.
Yeah.
So then I went to a really small team of like 7 people. So it was a small startup,
Yeah.
and we were working with then companies that were like lower. They were about $100 million, and I was selling sort of consulting services, sort of software to them. They were all backed. They were all owned by or recently purchased by a large private equity fund. That's who we sold into. I sold into private equity funds, and then we worked with their portfolio companies, like directly with their management teams. So it was like looking at a company that had just gone through an inflection point, and they now had more cash, but they still had the same problems. And then we moved again. So then that was the one that where we came to Japan. And then it was like, well, I'm not going to be able to do management consulting because I cannot be awake on East Coast towers in the hours that they need to be awake.
No.
So it was at that point when I launched Cap-Work. And I originally launched it as a direct-to-consumer brand that was, I designed and made this productivity planner. And that worked for about a year, and then I really, really quickly understood what it meant to manage your cash flow, because the cash flow was not well managed. Which is funny because it was like I got an MBA, like I should be able to do all this. Why is this not going the way I want it to go? And then I recognized that profitability is actually like a really, really strong challenge for small, early stage entrepreneurs.
Yes.
It's like it's really difficult. And that led into me being like, well, if I can't understand this, like I'm sure that people who have not gone to business school, it's not clear. So that led to okay, now can I break it down for myself? And then I recognize that profitability is just how do you increase customers? How do you increase the average order value that they spend with you?
Yep.
How do you increase
Yep.
the frequency? And then how do you increase the margin that you get off of that you get from them, which is like, how can I serve you better? So then I took that and started to coach entrepreneurs in this like $1 to $3 million range, and
Yeah.
recognize that these challenges are like, we are still very bootstrappy, and these challenges are, I'm not even sure if I'm ready to have a system in my business. And then once you get to 3 million, then it's like, we've got some systems, we've got teammates on board, we've got other things. The business is proven. It's not just a kind of flash in the pan kind of business where it's ridden a fad. It's real, but I don't know how to get to 10. I don't know what to
Yeah.
do from here to there.
Yeah.
And you also get a lot of manual processes in a business like that, because you're
Right.
like, I don't know who I should hire. So I should hire this person who's got high character, but they're figuring it out. And then, so that's the kind of overall story.
Man,
And I
it's a
love
great
working
story.
with businesses in that stage.
It's a great story. So here's what I glean from that narrative. You learn extremely quickly,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're comfortable with uncomfortability and fast transition in and out. You're comfortable there.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you know how to create value quickly, because in pretty much all of these scenarios, you had to be successful. You had a 3-year window to be
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
value
So
creator and a
ramp up time
contributor.
is like, ramp up time is not months, it's weeks, sometimes days.
What do you think what do you learn? So what do you think you learned from, because you're kind of a case study, a scientific case study for what if you had to reinvent yourself every 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what if I had to I haven't had to do that. What did you learn from that, and what do you think are the advantages of having gone through that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. So I think you're right. I realized this a couple of years ago, that you were talking about superpowers, and I think one of my superpowers is I can learn very fast, and that's the thing that I have gotten better at over time, is I've learned how to learn fast. So really not uncomfortable anymore asking questions that sound dumb, or things like that. So but I go very broad, and I gather as much data as I can, and then I synthesize quickly. And I think the second superpower that I would say I have is vision. So it's learning fast and then having a vision quickly from that. And I think that's like it flows from having to reinvent myself every 3 years.
Yeah.
Because some of these pivots were not obvious at all. Like the pivot from clinical work in a hospital to business school was like, I think I need to go through a program to obviously flag to other people that I have pivoted. But then when I pivoted from management consulting to product development, it was, I need to show, like, this is what I want to do. How do I show them that I'm going to be good at it? And how do I make sure that they see I've already taken a bet on myself, so they're not the first bet on me? Does that make sense? So like, I think if you want somebody to bet on you, which is what happens every time you make a sale or you get a new job, you have to give them the standpoint of like, oh, they've already obviously bet on themselves, so I'm not the first one, so I can take this one. And then it's a question of like reducing the risk of that person to make the decision.
Yeah.
How can you show them? How can you say? I think a final thing that I learned over this time, I mean, I've rewritten my resume so many times that it was like, I need to understand where there is a thread across these things. So data and analytics is a very common thread. Also, building is a common thread across my career. So I was like building solutions in these these are like business process solutions. And I didn't even realize it then that it was a thread. But if I look back, if I kind of zoom out on the picture, I look back, then there was a commonality across.
Yeah. Wow.
And so it's like pulling that thread in order to give somebody the story that you are a rising star, and it, like, everybody, you don't want to You want to give somebody the destination that you are headed to,
Yeah.
and then say, yes, I want to join that. Not you don't want to be like, go out there and be like, I'm good at driving. Hire me as a driver. You want to be like, I'm going to Boston. Come with me. You know?
Yeah. So how do you reduce the risk? So you said something that I don't think I've ever heard anybody say it that way, because now you're talking about, to some degree, the element of, if you're going to transition every 3 years, you've got to get people to bet on you every 3 years, right?
Yeah.
You got to get somebody to hire you, take a risk on you, and you're radically changing industries to some degree, or you're changing roles. And so you said you part of how you do that is you reduce the risk of the person that's betting on you by showing that you have already made the bet on yourself. Can you make that a little bit more tangible for me? Because I do have a lot of people that are probably watching this that are in some form of job transition and actually.
Yeah, I think it's very common right now. So an easy one is thinking about AI. So AI is, I mean, it's everywhere right now, right? So if I was looking to, if I'm thinking from like my customer's position, if I'm looking to hire somebody to help me think about AI or help me think about automating a process in my business, I don't want to hire somebody I want to hire somebody who's obviously done it before.
Yeah.
Right? Where I can look at their work product and I can say, oh, that's what I want. Or I want something similar to that in my business. So that's where I think that if you just take a bet on yourself and you make a project, or you make a product and you put it out there into the world, and it might be bad, but it might be enough that somebody else is like, yeah, that's pretty close to what I was thinking. Like, I think I need that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then it's not the first one that's the thing that's important. It's the second or third or fourth one that's important. But the first one allows you to say, I've made the bet. I am committing to this as a like a business leader, and I'm welcoming anybody to follow along if they want to join me. So I think that that's a big part for like that is showing proof of work instead of telling the story about your work is a big part of what I think our kind of generation is going to need to do with AI. We're going to need to show that we are working in it and not just say, I used AI in my last job, but show with a project that is that is facing the public. Like, this is how I use AI. This is what I created with it.
Pause here, because this is actually probably insanely useful this is going to be useful for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's a lot of people in my network that are in transition right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to relate this a little bit to an experience that I had in college. This is one of my top 5 most formative experiences that I've had in my life. And I had a teacher. I had a writing teacher, a creative writing teacher, who drilled on me, like, show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me. You're always telling me, Johnny. Don't tell me, show me. Right? Writing is for showing. Paint the picture for me. Let me smell it. Let me taste it. Let me feel it. Right? And that really stuck with me through, as a writer. That's baked into me now.
Yeah.
Right? That my job is to show, not tell. If I start telling, it's like, okay, we need to cut that, because I don't want to tell. I want to show you. Mm-hmm. And to some degree, I do relate that now to, because of AI, because of the advancements that are happening with technology. It's so much easier to go from idea into something that exists in the world, and the somethings that we create that exist into the world say more about us than all the things we could tell about ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And a big,
am I hitting it right?
Absolutely. And a hidden part in that is that I've taken the risk of putting myself out there. I've taken the risk on myself already.
Yes.
So now somebody else can take a risk on me.
Yes.
Somebody else can make that bet on me because I put the first bet out there.
Yeah. There's so many applications of that. I've just never heard that spoken. I've never heard that stated. And I think sometimes the simple truths can change a person's paradigm. Or the simple truths, I could say, oh, wow, I heard Nate say that. There's this thing I've been doing with AI, but I've been tinkering with it, and I've got something. Thought it wasn't that good. It wasn't perfect. It's like, oh, no, dude,
No, show
Make
it.
it, make it live. Show it.
Yeah.
Show it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Because it's another. Gosh, man, I hate to keep going here, but this is a friend of mine talked about costly signals, the psychological language of a costly signal, it's scientific language of a costly signal, right? Which is something costly that's hard to fake. It's hard to fake, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a costly signal is hard to fake, right? So I wrote a book. I have a book in the world.
Yeah.
That's a costly signal, right? This dude cared enough about the things he's talking about that he wrote a book.
That he wrote a book.
We could both say we're experts on a topic. You didn't write a book. I wrote a book on it. Folks are going to be like, "Oh, that's a costly signal. That guy wrote a book on it."
I see. Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hard to fake. It's hard to fake it. It's hard to fake that you wrote a book. Right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For you,
Basically another way of saying what is the costly signal for your career, your application, or your business, and then how can I signal that? I think degrees used to be the costly signal, and I don't think they are as much anymore.
They did used to be. Yeah. Not anymore.
Yeah. So now you're thinking. Now we're thinking more of, can I see that somebody has already done something similar to this, that it's done either this or something similar to it before.
You're telling me you're capable of it, but
Can you show me?
can you show me? Let me go ahead and click these buttons here and watch the machine turn on. It's like, oh, you built that machine and the machine spits out this thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care how you did it. Maybe the code is really bad. But
Or maybe the code is getting better. Because that's the other thing about projects is that, like, once you get it out there, it's much easier to it's way easier to improve on a consistent project than it is to start one from scratch. And that's the same thing I find in my own with the coding work that I do for my customers, is that, like, there is a big set of work that goes for getting a project live. And then once it's live, you can have a client be like, "Hey, can we move this? I thought about this feature. Can we do document uploads to this?" And be like, "Yes, let's get it done this week." You know. So then it's like this is a really quick addition to the project, rather than having to go through the whole foundational and architectural process of saying, well, what is the product? Who's the ICP? Like, who's the customer for? What problem is it solving? And instead, it's just like, I had this idea. Can we do it? And you're like, yep, did it. It's already done.
Yeah, that's the world we live in now, right? And you're loving it. That's where you've chosen to set up your shingle, right? Like that's That's what you do, is you come alongside. So tell me a little bit more about the signals, the thought process, like the problems that a person or a company is having that are like, you need Nate, right? Mm-hmm. You need to go talk to Nate. Tell me a little bit more about that. They say ideal client profile, but what are some of the, tell me a little bit of, show me that person.
Yeah. So there's two, and this is the first one is product managers. So product management, or like AI is really good at pulling information and synthesizing it. So, or translating it into another language. So product managers have had this role over years, where if you are in an organization and there are multiple different parties that you need to be talking to, so you got like design, you got sales, and you got marketing, and you've got engineering, the product manager has been the synthesizer of the information over the years. They've been the one who keeps the whole team on track. They keep the product moving forward. They're making decisions about what should be built and what shouldn't be built. But that role right now, where you're coordinating with different people and you're translating and you're taking like information, you're taking something that somebody said in design and then translating that into what engineering can understand. That role of translation and coordination has basically been wiped out by AI. And if it hasn't been done yet, it will be in the next couple of years. And not in terms of like wiped out. It's just AI is really good at that. So then you have to say, like, well, what are we going to do? What am I going to do with my career now if my core role is kind of taken away or is done either as well or potentially sometimes better, because it has a more live connection to data. What do I do? And I think the best response is that you have an extraordinary skill set in terms of understanding what needs to be built. Um, Now we just need to transfer that into you building it. So I help product managers turn into builders. So leveraging primarily Claude Code, but also Cursor and any or Codex as well. But primarily Claude Code to help them stand up and launch their own products. And this is like the main use case is you got to show it first that you did it, that you took the bet, that you were ready to go, and that you learned it all the way through. So I don't do in the AI builders that are common, that are kind of like full stack in and of themselves, where you're just prompting, but I help them understand. I help product managers understand like this is your backend, this is your authentication, this is your hosting, this is your the ID that you're actually going to code this in, and then you create the code. So like, are you in conjunction with the AI are going to create the code for a new product, and that
Yeah.
new product is going to be purchasable by customers. Maybe
Yeah.
they won't actually buy it, but that's not the point.
Yeah. That's
Like
not
the point is that you built something that could be purchased.
And you
Right.
bet on yourself. You
Bet on
created a
yourself.
costly
Exactly.
signal. You created a costly signal. I
Yeah.
can
Well,
build software.
yes, it's not that I can. So it's really this transformation from being an idea. Like I think of myself, I've thought of myself for a long time as an idea guy, and the turning from idea guy to builder was a pivot. So I teach project managers how to do it. It's mostly product managers, and but some other designers too as well. That have the skill set of like I know what should be built, but
Yeah.
I've never known how to build it before. Now
Yeah.
you can. Now that's possible.
Right.
It's totally possible.
Right.
So I do
Right.
that in 1 month cohorts. And then the second is that I work directly with business owners who are CEO or president or like in a high decision making position inside their small to medium sized business. Those businesses are like about like 10 years old usually. So they've been around, and when you have grown in the last 10 years, you generally grew on homegrown technology systems. So systems that existed 10 years ago, and then you've built on it. And any successful business is just going to be consistency over time, right? If you're consistent over time, you're not pivoting your tech stack every 3 years. So you're not going to be on a modern tech stack. But AI is such a extraordinary opportunity to remove a lot of the manual data entry or automatable things across the kind of baseline of your business, that this is a really great time to update your tech stack.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
so then the question is like, what should I update to? Do I just use one of these? Like, do I use something that already has AI in it? And that's the question. I can't answer that from the outside. So first we do this, we do basically a very short management consulting engagement. And we just look for profitability across the business and say, where are there places where we can increase profitability? And like I said before, there's only 4 places. It's number of customers, AOV, frequency, and margin. And in all of this, like, I believe that work is actually a good for the human soul. Like doing
Yes.
work is doing hard things for others, or
Yes.
doing good, difficult things for others is where I think you find joy.
Yeah.
So like work is a good thing. We don't want to remove work with artificial intelligence.
Right.
We want to remove the redundant, the mundane, and the things where a human is already acting like a computer, and just allow a
Yep.
computer to do that instead.
Yep.
So then
Yep.
you can let your team elevate to the things that humans are really good at, that
Yep.
people are really good at. So it's not like we're trying to come in and replace. It's like I would never suggest that you replace your
Yep.
employees with AI.
Right.
I think it's a fundamentally bad idea.
Yeah.
But I would
That's
suggest,
right. You wouldn't say that that's the purpose, because you would say
Absolutely not.
human flourishing is higher up the ladder than efficiency.
yes,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So instead, most of the time, we come in and do this consulting engagement, and that stands alone. You know, like you might decide we're going to build something, we might decide not, and we do that, and then after that, you find out like, oh, we have some people that are doing manual data entry and they're keying in information by hand. Is there a way that we could reduce that? One way you could solve that is to say, we're going to automate the process. So we're going to do like a Zapier, like an if-then process where you take it and then you just you do essentially what the person did, but the computer keys it. Another way you can think about it is like, can we create a product, an internal product that just skips this step entirely? We're not even trying to now replicate the existing step. We're just saying like, we need that data in the database. What's the best way to get it there? And then maybe it's not using a third-party tool. Maybe it's developing something yourself. Maybe it's, and this is where the possibilities are really, really open for what you can create right now. Because like with companies, I just make them an internal tool. I just code the whole thing. It's not like I'm saying we're using these different things that we're piecing together. It's like, no, we can do the whole thing can be custom, and the whole thing, we can make it so that your workflow matches, like the tool matches your workflow or your ideal workflow. Rather than your workflow kind of shoving into existing tools.
So this is what you're doing. What you do, you come in, you learn a lot, learn fast. You identify the problem, the best first problem to solve, and then you go after it hard. Yeah, you go deep. Yeah. You go deep hard. Fix that problem. Come back up for air. Right? What problem are we going to solve next? Or maybe we're not going to solve another problem. I'll go somewhere else and solve a problem.
For mine, I don't want to create a dependency with clients. So like, I don't want my clients to have to depend on me to make the decision or to do the work. I would much rather have them learn. So this is where it comes together. So there are some times where I will actually, the product manager that's already internal to that team, I take them through the program of building to be like, we're going to like give you a huge head start for this product. We're going to code it. We're going to build the whole thing. We're going to do it in tandem with you. Then we're going to give it to you. But you're going to know how to update it because I just trained you on how to build products.
I made it sustainable. Yeah. Because you're also trying to do good in the world.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
and then we go talk to another company.
Do right by these companies. And gosh, it's such an interesting combination of things. So this is going to be an abrupt ending. We knew it was going to be abrupt because we took up half of our
Let's
time.
do it again, Frank.
Yeah, but I think that, man, there's so many nuggets in here for encouraging people and for the way that people can begin to change the way that they're thinking about work and learn some of the lessons that you've had to learn the hard way. Yeah, and begin to apply them. Yeah. And so, Nate, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Johnny. It was great.
Yeah. No, it does suck that it was this short, but it was like some fire.
We'll run it back. Let's run it back.
There's some fire in there. Yes. Yes, we're going to have to. This is
don't tell. Bet on yourself first.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So everybody, thank you for joining me for another episode, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy, y'all.
All right, see you.